Hey guys, so today's a really busy episode. We work on the gas tank, the engine, fuel lines, emissions, but we don't finish anything. So enjoy.
Alright guys, so we got some good pieces here. We got my carb-to-carb fuel connection, spacers for the valve cover bolts, a washer for valve cover bolts, new bushings for valve cover bolts, and throttle spring returns. Also have the Y connector for the emission system, I believe. A couple hose clamps, which I just bought a whole bunch from Harbor Freight actually, and my new valve cover gasket. So this will be going on today. I'm probably gonna go get some clothespins to help it sit overnight, and yeah, let's go. We'll get cracking.
Alright guys, so for some of you who've been watching my channel for a little bit, this is about to be a very important moment. And success. Finally got a radiator cap. That's nice. We got all these other goodies put on the car as well. So valve cover's about to come off. And we got some hoses for the emission system, fuel line hose. So we get some videos of these going on the car, and I'll talk through it as I do it.
Alright guys, I just put my carb-to-carb fuel line on. This was a pain in the butt, I'll be honest. So there's no way I would have done this holding the phone. Basically, slid this end on this carb first and just had to manhandle this bad boy down to the other side. Next thing we're going to do is go ahead and install our little T and get a hose clamp to try and connect our emission lines. Alright guys, so we just put the new radiator cap on. We're going to go ahead and put this little Y hose splitter on our emission system, and we'll put the smaller hoses on after we get the valve cover off, which will be the next step. So we're going to go ahead and get this bad boy on, tighten her down. Alright, put this out of the way for now. And the next big step's gonna be taking off the valve cover here that we had so much issues with last time.
Alright guys, the next job is going to be to get the old gasket off, so I've got my razor knife here. I'm going to sit and pull this thing off. So we didn't really record the video. I was actually talking to my neighbor over here looking at the car. But I went ahead and put on the new gasket with some RTV red. I'm going to use this to hold them on. And I think this should be good enough. I was also debating just putting it upside down and putting a brick on it, but I think this should hold it just fine. So let this sit overnight. Let that sit overnight. Shouldn't go anywhere. Gasket should settle, and then we'll put it on the car. Hopefully tomorrow. Before I put the valve cover back on, I'm going to replace these bushings, the washers, and the spacers. I got brand new ones, nice and shiny for all those. You can see some of these bushings are pretty torn up, so they need to be replaced. Another issue we're having that I have to address before I put this back on is this rocker arm right here is disconnected. It keeps going disconnected. I've lowered this as much as it will go, and it's still disconnected. Now, I thought it might have been an indication of a bent rod. My neighbor across the street is a master tech, and he came over and we spun it, and it doesn't appear to be bent. So I'm probably going to have to, since I still don't have a 1 5/16,
go to Advanced Auto, borrow that part, rotate the motor, and do a full valve adjustment and see if I can make any difference. So that's probably going to be on the docket for tomorrow, but today I'm just going to continue to put other parts on that I acquired, probably mostly the emission systems.
So I just found a bolt that I have to tighten down that clamp. I was missing it, so I went ahead and tightened down the return coolant clamp. So tighten that down. Now I'm going to hook up one of my hoses for the emission system to the back of this carb and to the other end of this. And I have another one the exact same length, which is going to go to this side. I know it's supposed to be shorter. They didn't have that part, so I'm just going to cut it because it's just a generic hose. But in the meantime, before I cut it, I'm just going to plug it in and just have it on the engine. Give myself a little more space to pull the hoses out while I'm still working on the valve cover. But I just wanted to plug everything up and see what else I need to work on.
Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and connect these hoses. Let's take some work. Flathead. That's tight. The other end goes on here. And it's going to need a clamp too, so go ahead and get that squared away. Curious to know where the other owner had this routed, because this is definitely the hose that goes to the emission system, and it seems very long to me. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. But in the meantime, I'm gonna go ahead and connect the other hose. And I'm not gonna put the clamps on to the carbs yet. I'm just gonna have the hoses attached. Those are on. This one down here.
That is definitely not how those are supposed to be on there. But in the meantime, it'll do as a placeholder. I'm going to have to look up why this seems so long or where it's supposed to run. Seems out of place. But I'll once I figure that out, we'll get these hoses squared away.
I know I'm missing this choke linkage, as one of you guys pointed out. I haven't looked through the boxes completely, and I'm not 100% what it's supposed to look like. I'm assuming it's supposed to be something similar to the throttle linkage. So I'm gonna. Haven't seen anything like that in my parts boxes. If anyone knows a parts number, please throw it at me. I will get on it. Probably won't order it till the end of the month. Yep. My immediate concern is, again, as we talked about earlier, this loose valve rod I have. I'm gonna get on YouTube and figure out what I gotta do to adjust that. Advanced Auto won't be open till tomorrow, so I won't be able to go in there and borrow 1 5/16. But once I can, we'll get on adjustment, and I'll do some research tonight.
Next thing we're going to do is replace this old tired fuel filter. I went crazy and ordered 6 of them, assuming that I'll burn through a few as I get the tank going again.
Using our flathead to loosen the clamps. Shouldn't be too. Been in there for a while, as you can hear. Oh yeah. Here's the old one. Looks okay. It's just. Yep. Let's get rid of that. And fuel flows that way. Stick this new guy in.
guys, so there's the new filter. It's a little bigger than the last one. There's the new cheap line. I wish, you know what, I definitely made a big mistake. Somebody told me that Moss is overpriced, and they definitely are. So the guy gave this to me. I bought this tubing. Tell me if you guys think this will work for fuel as well, but it definitely says windshield washer vacuum tubing. My guidance was that I wanted the smallest thing that could fit on the filter, and this is what he gave me. So if this won't work, then if it's gonna get eaten away, I don't believe it will, because I think it should be fine, but just to be safe, I might want to change it out. I'm not sure. You guys tell me what you think. Alright, so we're going to do a quick recap of everything that's happened today. Well, we obviously installed the radiator cap. That was new. Removed the valve cover. We pulled off the old gasket. Right now we currently have this new one sitting. Hopefully it makes a good bond, and I can get it back on. I did not put on all those new bushings that I was talking about. They're going to be sitting over here until I'm ready. I went to Advanced Auto Parts. I hooked up my emissions hoses. I believe I'm gonna have to cut this right here, move this Y up to here, connect this hose, and then cut this hose, and I'll just have some extra hose laying around, so that'd be nice, but it'll be a little tighter. I'm gonna leave it the way it is right now because it kind of keeps it out of the way, so I'm not super upset about that. I put on a new fuel filter. The old one was pretty it was pretty spent. This hose was not cutting it for this filter, so I got it on there as best I could. But it was too large for the carb. I don't know the best way to overcome that, so I just I hose clamped it down. It was not excessively large, it just was able to slide on and off pretty easily. So hopefully I don't have any issues. If you guys think that'll be a problem, please let me know. We took the valve cover off, and we noticed that we have a disconnected, I'm trying not to get my push rod here, so that needs to get addressed. I went and bought a 1 5/16 socket. Unfortunately, I don't have the driver head for it, so I'm gonna have to take it back, maybe go get a 1 5/16 wrench from Harbor Freight and go about it that way. I think it'll probably be best for me. So yeah, that's where I stand. I think I covered everything. Oh, we put the fuel line on as well, the carb-to-carb fuel line. And the other issue we got to address is the choke. But once we can figure that out, hopefully that is not as big an issue as it could be. I'm really hoping that there's something small I could do to adjust this. Like I said, we spun it. It doesn't appear to be a bent rod, but I really hope that there's something else I can do, considering I've adjusted that bolt down as far as it'll go and it keeps falling off. So I'm gonna do some research tonight, see what can be done, and hopefully tomorrow we'll start prepping the gas tank for paint. We'll paint it, and I can adjust these rods. But I appreciate everybody watching, and yep, just hit like and subscribe.